Hello and welcome to my studio journal. Now back in 2022, I started to redesign my home studio, shifting from software to hardware for the first time. What began as a few videos for some curious students soon became an ongoing unfiltered record. So this is day 15. I have to admit, I did break down. I went to the store today to try and get one of those iConnectivity Mio XLs. And unfortunately, they didn't have any that I could rent there. They're that MIDI interface that I can plug into the computer and then it hooks up to all your MIDI sources, both USB and 5-pinned in. I wanted the rack unit. Depending on what I can do, I might actually opt for just getting the Mio XM, which is, I think it's a 12-port USB and MIDI interface. I'm still not entirely sure how to make it work yet, like how I want to have things set up. So the piano wall is all wired in and ready to go. And the secondary production desk is now set up with the new audio interface and ready to be used. And the main synth wall is basically all set and ready to go, with a few exceptions. I'll get to that later. And the main studio desk is basically ready to go. While this might not be the final stage, it's getting closer to the final stages, and that is monitor calibration. Now for that I'm going to need a few things. I'm going to need a measuring tape in order to figure out my listening position, a stand like this mic stand where I can mount my iPhone in order to use the SPL app on it. For my own self, I use one of these things. It's the Advanced Room Correction System from IK Multimedia. And basically the whole purpose of it is, has a mic in software. The idea is that listens to your room and then EQs it accordingly. Because as you notice, I don't have any sound treatment in this room. I'm no audio engineer. This is just the way I do it. And I've complicated matters a little bit more because I have the Mackie Big Knob up there, which controls the volumes on everything. And I have the Volt over in that corner, which controls it again. So I have two volume knobs. So how I'm doing it is I'm setting this one to 75%. So I know automatically if I'm going to be mixing or mastering, this goes to 75% and the volt goes to 50%. So that's where my reference lines are. So if I want to recall that, 75%, 50%, and then I should be all set. Then the next thing to do, and I've already done it with these speakers, the distance from this monitor to this monitor is the same as the distance from here to your listening position, where your head should be when you're listening to the speakers. In my case, it's 51 inches from the center cone to the center cone on each of these speakers. So that means my listening position is, well, roughly right where I'm sitting. 51 inches out from this one, 51 inches out from that one. So I made this perfect triangle now. Well, so let's say I want to master or mix at minus 20 dBFS. I'll load up Logic in this case, and I'll set the tone generator that generates pink noise to minus 20 dBFS. So that's where my referencing level is going to be. Then what I have to do is measure both the length, width, and height of my room and come up with what the cubic meters are, or cubic feet. I do everything in cubic feet, and I had to convert it to meters. But anyhow, so I converted it to meters. This particular room is 31 point something meters. Well, anything less than 40 cubic meters. But it's around 73 decibels. So then the next step is to put this mic stand so that the SPL meter is sitting right where my head's going to be. And then I turn off all the speakers and start with the right one, set the tone generator for the pink noise, and measure this until it gets to my desired decibel reading. The left monitor, do the same thing. And then I do the pain in the neck subwoofer to take all the measurements so that it's the right decibel reading for both the right and left monitor as well as the subwoofer. So I have my desk, which is, let's say, something like this. This is not going to be a good picture. We know that much. And so we have one monitor here, and we have the other monitor, let's say here, and there I sit right there. The distance between these two monitors and the monitor and myself should be the same distance. All these are now the same, even though the picture doesn't demonstrate that. Now what you do is you measure the length of your room by the width by the height. And you come up with how many cubic meters you have. In this case, my room is 32.311 cubic meters. That means that I should be referencing somewhere around 74 decibels. In my case, you go into Logic. You get your tone generator. You set the referencing level for -14 dBFS. Then you get your SPL. You put your SPL meter right where you're listening. You go behind your speakers. What you can do is you can balance everything to, let's say, the left speaker first. I then turn up the volume of this monitor until it reads 74 dB. Then I turn this monitor off. I go over here. I turn this monitor on. And I do the same thing. I play pink noise until I hit 74 decibels. And then I deal with my subwoofer that's under the desk. I'm not even going to get to that point yet. Because I have the Mackie Big Knob. And if I have that cranked all the way to max, so if I have the Mackie Big Knob set at max, and then on my other desk, which is over here, I have the volt, and I crank that thing all the way up once again to max. That's still not good enough. And then I turn this speaker on to max, and I turn this speaker on to max. And you know what? I still can't hit this 74 decibels. The only way I can hit that is if I crank this -14 decibels, full scale, to +6 decibels. That's the only way I can do it. So there's some power loss somewhere in the system that's not allowing these speakers to operate no matter what. I can't get to that 74 decibels. Now yet, I get to, let's say, I get down to 60. I turn on Apple Music, and now all of a sudden, Apple Music's playing at like 82 decibels. Now I understand there's going to be peaks and valleys, and that's going to jack that thing up to an 82. But still, no matter what, if I have everything set to max, I still can't hit that 74 decibels. So now what I have to do is try and figure out another way to kind of deal with this situation. If you'd like to follow the full journey, check out my online studio journal linked in the description. Until next time, I'm just a music teacher having fun. Catch you on the next one.